This is a great exercise for cue ball control and speed control. And whenever I'm doing drills for my speed control and cue ball control, I'm using my piece of paper. And I'm not using that to have a visual target because, I mean, in a real match, you don't have that visual target either. No, I'm just using that to see how much I'm actually coming to my intended position on the table because I want to know, was my line the right one? So this means how good did I control the cue ball, and also how close did I get to that piece of paper. This means how good my speed control actually was. And nice little drill, you can see very common shots. You have to come up and down the table. Those type of shots always come up when you're playing a real match, no matter if it's 8 ball, 9 ball, 10 ball. Yeah, straight pool, not really. The balls are in straight pool, are not spread like that. But let's give it a try. And I think if I end with an angle like this, with my feel good angle, this would be fine. This means I gotta find my feel good angle on that one ball. Don't wanna have too little angle because then, as you can see, I just have to stun the cue ball up table, and this becomes awfully difficult, not only in terms of speed control, but also in terms of getting the right line to go to that piece of paper. And this is the reason why I definitely want to give myself more angle, where it's more natural. Here, for example, I can hit a bit softer, probably trace of right spin, and then we will see how close I'm actually coming. Line looks good. Just a bit too short, so now it's a bit tricky, but this is fine. You can see speed was a bit off, line was just a bit off. Now I definitely have to adjust a bit, and I think that I'm trying to, what's more natural? I think if I'm going to here and then bounce out like this, maybe even a bit more. The cue ball ends up here. I think it would be perfect. It's coming more out like this. So let's give this a try. So here, center of the cue ball, touch of right spin, visualize the line, feel the speed in your arm, and then just focus on the process, not on the outcome. This is very, very important. And once again, pretty good line, just under hit the shot, and all of a sudden we're facing a shot that's really, really difficult. So you see how important accurate speed control and cue ball control is in this exercise. So here I want to end up probably with that angle, which is awfully tricky because not only do I have to stun the ball, I also have to elevate. This means if I'm just a tiny bit off with my tip position, the cue ball can go anywhere here up table. So you really got to focus on feeling the right speed and definitely hitting the right spot on the cue ball. So this looks to me like just a bit of forward rotation. So not a stun shot where the cue ball follows the tangent line, because the tangent line goes into the rail and then out like this. This means I need to have a bit of follow on the cue ball, a bit of forwards rotation, no rolling ball, kind of a stun shot, but with a tiny bit of forwards rotation. Nevertheless, very, very tricky shot. Even if you know all of this, that's a real tester now. And you can see cue ball goes completely wild with that elevation, and we completely lost the cue ball. So I would say, let's start over again. Let's start right from the beginning. Of course, you could try to play the shot once again when you're doing these kind of drills and you miss a position or you completely hit a shot, then you can just continue from here. But for me, this doesn't really have any value to play that shot over and over again because it's just too difficult, and the mistake actually happened way before I had to play that free ball. The free ball was just a consequence. The real mistake happened already from the 1 to the 2 and from the 2 to the free ball. Okay, let's start over again. Let's see. So I have a tendency to underhit the shot a bit. So this means I will just have to hit a bit harder. Line was good so far, not that far off. Now I overhit the shot a bit. bit on the wrong side, but we're still fine. But this once again means we can't do the same that we did just here, because you can see we have less angle. So this means once again, I have to work. I mean, what I could maybe do is use some inside spin. And if I do that, I can take this line. Am I happy on this line? Well, I actually am happy if I'm on that line, because as I mentioned, we want to have more angle on the 3-ball to come up table. So I would say, let's try to bring the cue ball somewhere around here. Is this possible? It's a bit tricky, but I'm really curious now. Line is good. Cue ball, please stop. Once again, overhit it a bit, just a bit too little angle, but this time at least we don't have to cue over the 8-ball. This is the good news. Here on the 4-ball, I want to have a bit less angle than before, because now I don't just want to come naturally down here. So a bit less angle makes it a bit easier to bring the cue ball towards the 5-ball. So I would say here would be good, of course. Somewhere around this point is nice, but once again, we're using the point to see how close we're actually coming to our intended position on the table. We'll need some left spin, tiny bit of stun, otherwise the cue ball will go more towards here. Let's see, gotta hit a bit harder because we have less angle now. Yeah, I just told you I gotta hit harder because we have less angle now, and I made exactly that mistake. So I kind of visualized that, and because of that, we now have a bit of a trickier shot on that 4-ball. I mean, what I could do is, I could use low left, try to have a bit of backwards rotation to bring the cue ball towards here. But first of all, we don't want to end up straight anyways on the 5-ball, which is important. And we don't want to make the shot too difficult. This is why I'm just going to use some left spin, bring the cue ball towards the center, almost the center of the table would be nice. And that way, I don't risk missing the shot with that low left kind of drag shot. And I don't risk ending up straight on the 5-ball, because I don't mind if I have a bit of an angle, but I just don't want to end up straight. So let's say we want to end up here. Even a bit further to the left of the paper would be nice. So let's just use left spin on that one. No low. Don't want to make the shot any harder than it already is. That's nice. You can see we even managed to end up a bit to that side of the paper, which is better angle than here. So let's just use low right here, stun out, end up with a bit of an angle on that 6-ball, something like this. Usually, if you're in a real match, go over, take the time, see where your feel-good angle is, and this is definitely my feel-good angle here, my ball in hand position. It's definitely manageable to get there. Oh, this was bad. I actually decelerated on that shot, and this meant I had less spin on the cue ball and definitely had less speed on the cue ball. So we got to recover once again. You can see I was really far off, but the good news is, can I just play that with right spin? Well, on my table I can't, because the right spin won't grab enough to bring me away, because it's still a bit slippery. On different table conditions, you could definitely play this one with just right spin, where this rail really grabs, the right spin brings you to here. On my table, however, I have to add a bit of low, unfortunately, which makes the shot a whole lot more difficult, because I kind of have to drag it, because if I'm not dragging it, dragging, by the way, means the cue ball has more backwards rotation. I'm hitting low, having a pure draw shot, and on its way to the 6-ball, the cue ball loses some of that backwards rotation. This is a drag shot. If I want to keep all the backwards rotation until it arrives on the 6-ball, I have to hit harder, and this means the cue ball will come all the way to here, but I just want to bring it one rail to here. This, real quick, is what a drag shot is. See if I can pull that one off. Low right. That was bad. That was actually a mental mistake because I was hoping to pull that one off because I knew it would be good in the video to do it on the very first attempt. And now this is one of those occasions where if I miss a shot, where I just set the shot roughly up again and give it another try until I nail the position and I nail the shot, because this is a shot that comes up way more often than the one where we had to cue over the 8-ball before. So second attempt. Just a bit fat. Yeah, still didn't like, still wasn't really feeling it, wasn't really confident in my stroke. But this is a good exercise for me as well, because I always, of course, obviously want to do things perfect on video, and I used to do those things over and over again until I had it in the very first attempt. But I think it's much more valuable to show you this very first attempt and see how many attempts it takes me to actually run it and the mistakes I'm making on the way. Now, a big shot from the 8 to the 9. So I want to definitely have an angle. Can I bring it to here? This would be nice. Probably not. Maybe like this. Once again, kind of a drag shot. That was good, even though I once again didn't really like my stroke. Was a bit quick-paced, was a bit of a snappy stroke, not a really nice smooth follow-through. But I'm currently working on my stroke. Already recorded a video just before that one for the stroke. Now if I just come back to here, hit the rail somewhere in this area, we should be fine. Don't want to hit too low, because then we end up with too much angle. Don't want to hit too far here, because then we might end up straight. I mean, frozen to the rail would be nice, but I think if we hit the rail around here, we should be fine. Bit tricky, because it's a bit too much angle to do that with my feel-good stroke. Here would be the right angle to do it with the feel-good stroke. So this means I have to dig a bit more into the cue ball and play a very nicely timed stroke here, shot on the 8-ball. Yeah, you can see just what I mentioned was just a bit too much angle. That's why I hit here and not here. Could have, of course, I could have played it a whole lot better, time it a bit better, or on different cloth. Once again, the left spin grabs a bit more than on this new slippery cloth, but still good enough, even though it's a bit of a tricky shot. And I think because the cue ball is going to have some speed, I'm trying to bring it to here, and then back out to here. For that, I'm using a touch of right spin. If you're not feeling comfortable with that right spin, you can also just play it high, come to here, maybe trace of left spin, come to here. Just gotta be really, really careful of that corner pocket scratch. And still, tricky shot to actually make. I just told you, you gotta be careful with that corner pocket scratch. Just a tiny bit too little right spin. But for me, it makes the shot a tiny bit more natural with the right spin, a tiny bit more predictable, even though I scratched here. So let's use a touch more right spin. Now we're here. This is what I was trying to do. And this, I think, is the closest we ended on that piece of paper. Here, of course, just want to stun it in. And this is the cue ball control drill. Yes, I made some mistakes, but this is normal. You will make mistakes. The important thing is how you react. If you want to set up the balls up again to practice that shot, certain situations you don't want to do that. Sometimes you want to start over again. And if you're doing this, and once you've run all the balls without a mistake, you can go to the next one, or you can just give yourself a time limit of like 20 minutes. And if you haven't accomplished to run the whole table after 20 minutes, 30 minutes, do something else, have a bit of variety in your practice. This is really important, that you don't just do this drill for 2, 3, 4 hours. Once you're so frustrated, you're really exhausted, you can't really concentrate anymore, then you won't benefit from it. So it's very important to have a bit of variety when you're practicing. And I hope you've enjoyed this drill. If so, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. And as always, see you at the next lesson or drill. Take care.